Welcome back to the Basement Gun Shop. Yesterday I was at work and a friend of mine came up and asked me for some advice on holsters. So I thought to myself, that's a good topic. Holsters, especially for those of us who concealed carry on a regular basis. There are so many types of holsters out there. The debate on holsters is almost as wide-ranging as the debate on what's a better caliber or what's a better gun brand. Glocks over Colts, over Smith & Wesson, over Springfield Armory, over H&K, over FN, over Glocks. You know, that whole round-robin argument that gets nowhere. So I thought I would just grab a couple of the holsters that I have and just start talking about them. So let's familiarize ourselves with some terms. Inside the pants, a holster that's designed to be worn inside the pants. Outside the pants, several different versions. They generally hook on the belt or over the belt and your pants. In the case of a pancake holster, or a paddle holster rather, that has a big wide paddle that hooks over your pants and over your belt and rides against your hip to keep the gun stable. A pancake holster, which is one like this, where you put your belt through the two loops, and when you cinch your belt up, it pancakes the gun against your body. That's where that comes from. An ankle holster like this, such as this one I have for my little 380, or a small of the back holster, another one that's made to wear on the belt, which is for my Para Ordnance 1911 P12. So let's look at the individual types. This is a Galco. I bought it many years ago because I was looking for an alternative way to carry other than inside the pants. And some of the places I was going to at that point in my life, having a gun on my hip just wasn't going to cut it. So having one in the small of my back was considerably better. This, like I said, it's a Galco holster. It's all leather. One of the things you'll find with leather holsters is that they're made to fit a specific model of gun. For example, you're not going to take one of my other 1911s and put it in this holster. You're not going to take one of my Glocks and put it in this holster. About the only thing you're going to get in here is a Para Ordnance P12, one of the officers' models with the double stack from Springfield Armory, something along those lines. A compact or subcompact 1911. That's what you're going to get in this, and that's pretty much all you're going to get in this. This holster was $65 or $70. So that's 65 or 70 bucks to carry one gun. It has a retention screw right here. So you put your gun in, you adjust this screw, and that screw clamps down on the leather, which in turn clamps down on the last, I guess it's about 1.5 inches from the end, the last 1.5 inches of the slide, and it makes the gun harder to draw. The purpose being retention. I slide that gun in there, I know it's going to stay there until I would reach behind me and draw. It's got 2 belt loops, one back here, a very wide one right here, and then this one that's cut out of the leather, and this would ride on your belt just like that. And you would reach behind you and just pull it out. So that's that one. Let's look at the inside the pants holsters. This is a Blackhawk. It was made for Glock 17 and Glock 22s. Oddly enough, here's a Glock 17. That fits in there real nice. Obviously, because it was made for it. Okay? There's no retention on this. There is nothing more than a spring clip to go over the waistband of your pants and over your belt, and then it uses spring tension to keep from popping out. In point of fact, I've never had an inside the pants holster pop out on me. I've almost lost a gun once, but that was kind of my fault, and kind of I was being a little more active than I should have been while carrying concealed. So, you know, that popped out, and it was not with one of these. One of the things I like about these Blackhawk holsters for inside the pants is that they're rigid holsters. In other words, if, and I'm going to use my 29, if you draw, that holster stays open. So I can pull the gun out, whatever, and to reholster it, I simply have to find the holster and slide it right back in. This is a Benacci inside the pants holster. It is just a soft piece of leather. That's it. And then the spring clip and the plastic plate that holds the spring clip are sewn onto the glued and sewn onto the leather, and then the leather is just sewn into a pouch to form the shape of a gun. The problem with this is it's very comfortable to wear. I will say that right off the bat. This is probably the most comfortable inside the pants holster I've ever had. But the problem is, if you draw, just the tension from your belt is going to collapse the holster. And then if you need to put it away, you have to reach around here and you got to open it up, and you got to work, you actually have to work the gun back into it and wiggle it to get it back into the holster. This was made purely for defense. The gun comes out, it's not going away. You're not putting it away. You're going to stay there with it out for whatever reason. But it's a viable alternative. It's less expensive because obviously there's less materials. This has a big rigid strip of double thickness leather sewn to hold the spring clip and around the mouth of the holster to hold it open against your belt. So more materials, heavier materials in here. This is split, the Benacci is split cowhide, so it's very soft and very pliable. This is a pancake holster. It got its name because when you cinch up your belt, it kind of pulls in and pancakes the gun against your body. This is for a revolver. This one is also a DeSantis, and you'll notice it has a thumb brake. I primarily use this. I don't carry revolvers. I'm typically an autoloader guy. I do carry a revolver on occasion, and I do mean on occasion. Typically, I carry autoloaders. But when I'm working with a student who has a revolver, I want to be working with the same type of firearm that my student has. So I'm not saying do this, but don't do that with an autoloader because you have a revolver. I want to be able to say, here's the gun, here's the holster, and just work the same way my student's trying to learn. This has a thumb brake on it. You'll notice is the thumb brake is the snap that holds the gun in the holster. Some people prefer a thumb brake. A lot of people who are carrying for the first time purchase holsters with a thumb brake, and they do that for the added security. I'm not knocking them for doing it. I'm just saying over the years I have found the more inexperienced people who are carrying tend towards holsters with a thumb brake, and then when they get more comfortable with carrying a concealed firearm, they'll take a nice sharp pair of scissors and they'll lop that thumb brake off and trim back the leather and do whatever so that they don't have a thumb brake. I've done that with a couple of my holsters, to be honest with you, from when I was first carrying. So the drawback to a thumb brake is when you go for your gun, you've got to find this snap right here with your thumb, push down on that to open it up, grab your gun, and then draw. And then of course you've got something in the way as you're drawing, and that adds a little resistance. I've never found that to be a problem, but it could be for someone. Okay? And then lastly, the slowest and the slowest draw is this right here. Again, this is a DeSantis ankle holster. It's got some very wide elastic. That's at least 5 inches. very wide, very strong elastic. It has a great big sheepskin pad, nice soft pad right here to pad the holster from your ankle. It's also got a thumb brake right there, only the strap on the thumb brake is nylon, so it just flips right out of the way. Now, one thing I have to caution against is carrying in an ankle holster is probably the slowest, most noticeable draw on the face of the earth. You've got to bend over, you've got to pull your pants leg up, which people don't normally do in public or anywhere else for that matter. Pull your pants leg up and then get your thumb on there and get that thumb brake open and then come out and go to work if necessary. So ankle holsters are generally reserved for backup guns, not primary carry guns. Although, quite frankly, if that's what you got and you're going to be in a warm environment where you're not going to be wearing a jacket or a loose shirt and you can't just drop your shirt down over your primary carry gun, then an ankle holster may just be your only recourse. So those are some of the types of holsters. One of the ones that I really like, especially for going to the range, is a belt slide. Uncle Mike's makes a good one. It is nothing more than a strip of nylon about 1.5 inches, 2 inches wide, and you know, it rides on your belt. You cinch up your belt, and then you grab it and pull out in the center, and it just opens up a pocket for a holster. I've used the same belt slide holster for 44 Magnums, 357 Snubbies, 38s, 45s, both full size and my P12. I've used it for Glocks. I've used it for that little Bersa 380. I've used my Uncle Mike's belt slide for a number of handguns when I'm at the range. They're quick, they're convenient, they're simple, and they're, I mean, really, it's about this long and it's about 2 inches wide, and that's it. It's very simple. It's not the greatest for concealing. If you buy an Uncle Mike's belt slide, they do come with a thumb brake. Not a big fan of thumb brakes, so I didn't even put mine on. I never intended to use that for anything. I have, other than at the range. I have used it for carry and concealing, but other than that, I haven't used it for anything but at the range. I think I might have used it 5 times in the last 20 plus years to carry a firearm on me outside of the house and away from the range, and not going to the range. One of the things my friend at work specifically asked me about was a shoulder holster. Shoulder holsters are great. They look cool, and they're pretty neat. For concealing, they work well, especially when you can have a double mag pouch up here or even a second gun under your other arm. But here's the problem. Warmer weather's coming around, thank God. Do you really want to be stuck somewhere with a jacket on all day long? And this has got to be a jacket you can't see through. It's got to be a jacket that doesn't hold the shape of what's underneath it readily, like a nylon jacket or a windbreaker. You're not going to get away with a you're not going to get away with a Glock 29 in a shoulder holster, because if that's tucked under there and that jacket starts riding on that and the wind blows, you're going to see that pattern. Shoulder holsters are fine for detectives and law enforcement who are going to wear a jacket or who aren't worried about taking their coat off and exposing their firearm to the public at large. But for the for the average individual with a concealed carry permit, do you really want to walk into a diner, take your coat off, there's your 1911 riding proud in your shoulder holster, and scare some little 90-year-old woman sitting there having breakfast with her great grandkids? Because at that point, someone's going to call the cops. Yes, it's going to get straightened out. Yeah, you're going to show them your permit. Open carry may be legal in the state you live in, like it is here in Pennsylvania. But do you really want to go through that hassle? Okay? In a case like that, the cop's he's not trying to be an ass. He's not trying to violate his oath. or step on your constitutional rights. They got a call, they have to act on it. They have to look into it. If someone's calling the cops, to them it's a matter of public safety. A guy with a gun, if I was a cop, I'd come looking too. It's that simple. So, do you really want to go through that hassle? If you have a concealed carry permit, conceal it. Don't let anyone know you have it. The flip side of that coin is, if some scumbag comes in to rob the place and sees you with a gun, guess who just became his first target? Granted, he might see you before he walks in and decides to not rob the place because you're sitting there, but, you know, that's something that could go either way. And do you want to take that chance? So if you have a concealed carry permit, conceal it and keep it to yourself. So that's pretty much my take on holsters. Again, it's a very personal choice. You might like this one, which is an inside the pants holster made by Benacci, but you buy the Black Hawk and it's okay, and you use it for a couple months, and then you buy a DeSantis just to try it out, and whoa, you're in love with it. And the Black Hawk and the Benacci, they get pushed off to the side, and all you carry is that DeSantis. Hey, that's you. If it works for you, great. It's that simple. I'm not going to say buy this one over this one. I'm just telling you, these are the ones I have, what I've found with them, and what I like about them, what I don't like about them. There's not much I don't like about any of these, with the exception of the Galco SOB. The one thing I don't like about this holster is this very rigid area of stitching right here is just over the magazine release button. And when you sit in the car and you sit back on it, it already did it. It'll release the magazine. And I found that was one thing I had to check time and time again. I would get out of the car, I'd reach behind me and just kind of stretch, you know, getting out of the car and push down on the magazine until I heard or felt it click. That was one of the things I didn't like about this holster. I used it for a couple of years and just got in the habit of continually checking the magazine when I would get up from a seat or if I sat down. And I got very astute at picking out that little click sound when I would sit down. And then I could just reach behind me when no one was looking, or I thought no one was looking, and just, you know, squeeze the magazine and put it down. It just looked like, try to make it look like you're itching your back, scratching your back or something, and just click. Okay, yeah, I'm good. But that's all I got on the whole holster thing. So, as usual, if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below in the comments, and leave your questions below in the comments section as well. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. I do appreciate it. If you have any ideas for a future episode of the Basement Gun Shop, leave that in the comments as well. So again, thanks for watching, and until next time, stay safe and keep shooting.